Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Buddy Study Group for Worksite Solutions. And today it is time for another Buddy System State of the Union because we are really reaching this critical mass where we're starting to put out content, resources, refreshes to existing tools and pages in the buddy system really quicker than ever. And it's always important that we're able to give you updates on this so you feel prepared in how to properly use some of these new tools, new items, new pages. And as things change around, I know we develop a lot of muscle memory and we tend to move quick. So I just want to always make sure that those things are front and center for you. So one of the things that we're going to go over today is our new Census Quote tool. So Census Quote has gotten a major facelift. So I will take you through that. You're going to see a lot of new usability features, a lot of new resources, just a lot more information being output to you in less time. And we also have Gretchen on the call today, who is going to help us get familiar with the new marketing section of the portal. So there are a ton of new ways to find the content that you need. One of our, I guess, Achilles heels at Buddy INS is we have tons of content. We have content coming out our ears, but when I need to find the thing I need, when I need to find it, sometimes it can be a little difficult to find a needle in the haystack. So I think you'll find with a lot of the updates to that page, it'll be much easier to find something specifically that you're looking for. Or if you know you want something, but you don't know what that piece is, um, using some of the new filtering to really get to the pieces that you think will be most helpful to you. So excited for that. As we go through this, feel free to let me know if there's any feedback that you have, good or bad. We are okay with both sides of the feedback. That's how we get better. And if you have any questions or have started using some of these new refreshes and you have questions, I am happy to answer them as we go. So, without further ado, why don't I share my screen and we will go straight into the new census quote tool. So if you are seeing this for the first time, I'm sure the first thing you will notice is, holy cow, this is way different than what I remember census quote being. You do not have to understand or worry about any longer copying dates of birth out of the census and loading it into the census quote tool. You don't have to worry about hitting escape before pasting those dates of birth and why did everything populate into cell one. We've got a much more lightweight, kind of automated census quote for you now. So what I'm going to do is I had a dummy census generated. And what I am going to do is just show you very quickly. You can just drag and drop your Excel file right into the census quote tool. And it's going to essentially give you a prompt here. It's going to ask if you want to look at all 120 lives in the census, employer funded. You can see it's automatically read the date of birth column. It's going to look for anything that says date of birth, DOB, it'll look for birthday, it'll look for a keyword tied to date of birth, and it'll pull that whole column's data. So really nice and convenient. I'm going to proceed with all 120 lives, but you can choose to filter out the list and add some rules to it. I'll be honest, I haven't played around much with this feature yet, um, but it will allow you to keep some pieces of the census out. You can choose columns to essentially remove if you'd like to just pare that down. So I'm going to hit continue. You can see very step-by-step process. what you'll do here is enter in what you think the effective date will be on the case. So it defaults to a couple months out. In case you didn't know, newsflash, you cannot send us a group today and get a 7/1 effective date. I don't know if you knew this. It's important that you know this. Generally, we need a couple of months of runway. So the tool will automatically default to that. So you're not showing, say, ages for today and then getting an effective date a couple of months down the road, which may age a significant amount of the employee population on the census. So that allows us to just keep pricing as accurate as possible to your hypothetical effective date. And then we are going to walk through carriers. So you can see we have a number of different plan designs that are available. They're sorted by carrier. So um, the standard Chubb, Transamerica, and Trustmark for now. We'll continue to work on things like state filtering so that when you enter your state into the tool at that first screen when you upload the census, we'll work on filtering just to the plan designs that fit your case based on state. But I am going to show term to 100 with 5% inflation for the standard. Let's just do a term comparison here. We'll do Chubb lifetime benefit term because we're at 120 employees. We'll take Transamerica off for now just for the pure term comparison. And I'll use Trustmark's Life Plus Care with 6% acceleration. And you'll select your death benefit amounts here. So these are the increments you have available to you. The way this works is you can select up to 8 total plans. So between your amount of carriers and benefit levels, you can have a total of 8 permutations. So for example, if I have 4 carriers, I can select 2 benefit levels. In that case, that's kind of like your maximum report you would show. Since I have 3 carriers, I'm going to stick with 2 benefit amounts for the time being. And you can go to review. I'll stick with 25 and 100,000. And it's basically just going to give you an overview of what it's about to run for you. So it's going to generate 6 columns for me, 3 plans, 2 benefit amounts. I hit generate quote, and you can see how quickly I couldn't even finish the sentence. You can see how quickly, and it's going to generate your report for you. So it's going to give you this comparison. It's going to give you the carrier names. It's going to give you the plan design. It's going to show you the death benefits for each column. It's going to give you your monthly long-term care benefits based on the acceleration. It's going to give you the total monthly premium for funding every one of the employees, the total eligibles. So if I had any employees who were, for example, over the age of 70, it would show less eligible employees for the standard. So if I had, say, 5 employees between 71 and 80 years old, it would show 115 instead of 120. So it's automatically doing that homework for you to tell you, hey, there are going to be people left out based on age. It's going to give you your per employee per month premium for each to give you an idea, because looking at these costs can get kind of overwhelming. So if we can see per employee per month, it can help us kind of narrow in on a budget and say, I'm willing to put $1,000 a month in. Okay, well, let's see if we can carve out 20 employees from this census, for example. And it's going to give you a premium range. So of the census data, of the employees on the census, who is the lowest premium, or what is the lowest premium in the range, and what is the highest premium in the range. So that should give you a really nice idea of that. And I recommend using both of these buttons. Save as PDF will give you a different report. It'll give you this kind of side-by-side comparison spreadsheet from a high level. So we'll save that. And then we can also download an Excel spreadsheet. So I will give you ideas as to what both of the outputs look like here. Give me just one moment. All right. Can we see the spreadsheet on my screen? No? I might have to switch over. Okay. So our Excel spreadsheet is going to look like this. It's going to just give us individualized pricing for each and every employee. Okay. Um, there's more we can and likely will do with this spreadsheet, but it'll take the census data and essentially give you everybody's pricing. And this is more of the drill down detail that you'll be looking for. But when you actually show the PDF, I'll have to zoom in on this just a little bit here. And when you get the PDF, this is what's going to give you that high level cost benefit analysis that we saw on the initial screen. So it'll give you each of the carriers, death benefit amounts, it'll give you the plan design name, it'll give you monthly benefits, monthly costs, eligible employees. And when you actually dig into that Excel data, um, if an employee is ineligible based on age, it will essentially show them as a blanked out cell in the census. So hopefully you find this data, this output useful. If you feel like you have any feedback on what kind of output you get from this tool, feel free to let us know. That is an area that we are still, planning to refine and do some work on. Um, but previously, we were having the census quote run the group, give us this data, and we had to copy paste it out into Excel and sort of either use a template that we provided or beautify it in your own way. So this is going to give you something that's a lot more pre-packaged and give you the same data as that process a lot more quickly. As you can see, I'm spending time explaining each step, and that process only took, with my explanations, you know, about 3 minutes. So I would run this even if you just want to use dummy census data like I did. If you have a group in mind or you have a group you have a census for, I would try it out, get a sense of the usability, download both reports and dive into them. But it is something that we are working quite a bit on that we're very happy with. And the key thing we wanted to get out of this was ease of use, right? Ease of use and quick results. Because generating all this info for a case and kind of juggling around with copy paste and Excel and reformatting cells, that is so not my bag. So I find this to be incredibly useful for me. Um, and like I said, there's a lot coming in terms of what data are we providing and kind of what format. Um, so hopefully you enjoy. I think you'll also, as you start to get more enrollments under your belt, if you're somebody who thinks they might go the self-service route on any enrollments, um, this will be very helpful for you too, because one of the things even our internal team uses Census Quote for is to get the accurate pricing to help the employer sort out for an employer funded plus voluntary buy-up enrollment. From many carriers, you only get one bill. Okay, so they'll give you a bill to the employer and say, this is how much premium you need to remit to the standard for each employee. The problem with that is it doesn't sort out what premium you need to remit by taking a payroll deduction from the employee's paycheck and what premium you need to remit as a function of your employer funding of that plan. And that's very important for groups to know, obviously. You don't want to miscount that. You don't want to draw too much from an employee's paycheck. You don't want to fund too much for an employee beyond what you have committed to doing, right? So getting those numbers exact is very important. And I think that's another update that we'll make is to actually get the pricing accurate to the nearest cent for that purpose. So we're also looking to make things easier for our internal team and those who are going to be doing any self-service cases because billing can kind of be a little bit hectic. So yeah, happy to take any feedback. If you want to kind of play alongside even during the study group and run one and something comes to your mind, just let me know. I am more than open to take that back to the team. And this is something we got up and running very quick. So our ability to iterate it is also something we're capable of doing very, very quickly. So the problem with like a quick and easy to use tool is that is what, 16 total minutes of the study group to take you through start to finish. I guess one other usability piece is from some censuses I've run through Census Quote, there'll be a really weird name for the DOB section. Like I had one that said date birthday. I've never heard anybody use those two words back to back to describe a birthday. But Census Quote did not detect that as a date of birth column. If you run into that issue, Census Quote will let you know that, hey, I didn't find a date of birth column. And all you'll need to do is go up to that funky named column and change it to DOB, date of birth, whatever you prefer, save it again, and re-upload it into Census Quote, and it should take fine. I think one of the things we always worry about in the development of a new tool like this is usability. Am I going to run into glitches? Am I going to run into some sort of error that makes me regret making the switch? That is the least of the issues we're encountering with Census Quote right now. I'm surprised at how quickly this got up with very little to no issues at all. So I hope you enjoy using it. And again, let me know if there's anything we can do for you on that. So we have a brand new marketing section, Gretchen. Do you want to take the people through it?
I do is yes.
We're
One
having
moment,
fun playing
please.
around with it. I know that.
There we go. Where did you go? There you are. All righty then. Okay, marketing section right here on the left-hand side. Um, so we had a couple of objectives for this. One was to make it easier and more intuitive to find things. And the other is to provide better understanding for somebody just coming into these as to how they would use a specific piece. So easier to find things, and then what do I do with this when I have it? So as you'll see, I don't, for those of you who have experience coming in here, as you'll see, a couple of things. One is we have better filtering, and but we also have the cards are easy to see. The content cards are easier to see. There's no more Jason's pain, which
I'm
was
about to stand up and clap right now.
which was you used to have to click on this little button, a little arrow here, and scroll to the right to see the content. Now it's just three up. So just if you're looking at all of the content, you're going to scroll for a little bit, but you'll be able to see everything. And then as far as this is actually a new piece. This is from Jason. As far as the information you get when you click on a piece, it'll show you what the how you would use it and why you would use it. What is the purpose and what is the use? So I'm gonna.
One thing to add, Gretchen,
Mhm.
because We have taken away the bane of my existence, the clicking the side arrow until you come up to the right piece of content. We now have pages. So just keep that in mind when you are scrolling. You'll get to the bottom. That may not be the end of the results you see. So check to see if there's another page to get yourself through, depending on how you're filtered.
Yeah, yeah. There's there you go, right there. So the other piece of this is so you can pin it for your own use. And then up at the top, you'll be able to see all your pinned content. So this is content that you personally pinned yourself. Then we have recommended content. Let me get rid of this. And this is what we're saying, hey, you might want to pay attention to this. It's also um, new content is here. So, yeah, so like I said, definitely easier ways to filter the content. Now, I do need to say we're still working on some of the categories. So, like up here, prospect, educate, propose. We're still working on putting content into each one of these categories. So that'll take us a little bit of time. So I would just say start here at the default, which is all content, and then start, you know, don't be afraid. Be bold. Don't be afraid to click on things.
Click,
You're not gonna ruin the system. Click on
click.
every single one of them if you want. And then
Yeah, I think like just the specificity with which you can look for things is something we have wanted for a long
Mhm.
time in going through some of these resources. So I think it's really important um, that we kind of instruct you on how you may use some of these filterings. For me, the winner so far has actually been the sales journey filtering. So I can know exactly where I am with any case I'm working on with someone, and I can go to that step and find something based on the nature of the request, right? So if I have a group that's in the proposal phase, super simple. I can go and actually just click propose and find all the relevant pieces that go along with that, right? I could send them the presentation template. If they're looking for a Canva side-by-side comparison, I can find it there. So that for me has been really helpful, but you may want to double up and do a step in the sales journey and an audience, right?
oh,
Uh,
I haven't done that yet.
we're cooking with
Oh,
gas.
there we go.
And it's actually pretty smart, if I want to propose to employees, I'm probably going to actually be looking at things about webinars or interest
Mhm.
flyers, right? So it's pulling the right data or right pieces here for me. Size is also interesting. I think that applies mostly to our Canva pieces.
Yeah, I'm not. Hold on. Let me clear. Okay, let's see what we've got. Yeah.
So anything that we have that's kind of labeled large group
Hmm.
will populate when you click 100
Yeah.
plus in the size.
Yeah, this one I think is the one we need to do a little bit of work on, but there is content there
Hmm.
already, so for sure. So there we go. Very exciting. And I did want to show you also, we have the employee benefit presentation that we've had for quite some time. And this is really the standard presentation that Jason and Mark use when they're doing webinars. So I encourage you to take a look at this. But then Jason also put together a script. So, I mean, you have everything you need to provide a presentation to the employer to an employer group. So, yeah, this is another thing where I encourage you again to click around, see what content is available, and then just just play around with it. Go into Canva if you have a Canva account. If you don't, create a free account and you'll be able to get into any of the Canva um, resources. And there's a lot because we're doing more with Canva rather than you guys having to request customization. Here you go. Here's your Canva template. It's yours. And you can do whatever you need to with it to make it appropriate for your use. So
Yeah, and that
lots,
goes to Jim's question. Jim said there's a lot of great pieces. Can we make them into PDFs? There's some media that you might not be able to make in PDFs. They're a very small number, if
yeah,
any. But that's to Gretchen's point, why we do a lot in Canva. You don't need to pay for Canva. Please, if you're being prompted to pay for Canva, based on looking at a piece that's in error, just let us know.
mhm,
Sometimes we use like the a specific font in one section that triggers needing Canva Pro to look at. It's a generally very simple fix. It should
mhm.
just prompt you to create an account if you don't have one. And once you do, you should have full access, full reign to the page to make it your own and download as a PDF. Actually,
Yes.
Gretchen, do you want to just like give a quick example? Maybe like
Um,
the features and benefits comparison template. Oh, or the group presentation, that works too. So you click into it, view in Canva, and this is Gretchen obviously already having a Canva account should pull you straight into the piece. You can change anything about this. So, like, if you click into any of the elements or hover over it, you can see that everything's editable. That's kind of like our mentality when we make anything in Canva. Anything that you see represented should be editable. So don't be afraid to
yeah,
dive in and whether you feel really experienced with Canva and want to make some design overhauls, or you don't and just want to change some words around, you can do either. If you want to download as a PDF, you just hit the share button up in the top right hand corner, and then it's download. And if you are sending as a PDF or you're printing out for flyers, I recommend PDF print format. That is the best of the best. Sometimes some PDF creators give you really squished output. This is as good as it gets. Select your pages and you're off to the races. The
yep,
download button will have it straight into your folder.
super easy. And the other thing that we're trying to do more is you'll see from this template here that there's plenty of room to add your own logo and your own contact information. So again, don't be afraid to play around with these templates and really make them your own.
I've had a few A students who have gone in and actually like changed all the branding to their color scheme, like
Yeah,
keeping the bones of it the same, but I just want this to look and sound and smell like me, right? So,
yep,
I think the more and more you use pieces this way, the more you'll start to feel that creative license to start doing some of that stuff. So we encourage you to take advantage. A lot of this is obviously meant to arm you with resources to bring into your meetings, but also I think an underrated thing about the marketing section is it can also just be for your own education. Like all of these pieces are really designed to be educational. Even going through and just reading and figuring out what we have in here is going to be really helpful to your overall knowledge as it is.
yeah,
So
yeah, for sure. Are there any other pieces you wanted to go through? Because I also, the other thing I wanted to talk about was our new community partner.
yeah, if you just want to share the script real quick, I'll just give you an idea on
Sure.
what exactly I was thinking with putting that out. Um,
Hold on.
as you may or may not know, I have probably in the last 2, 3 years, Mark included,
Oops, hold on.
I have probably done between 500 and 1,000 webinars in the last few years. And what we really want to do with the marketing section beyond giving you control over any of these resources is for those who are truly interested in getting to a point of self-service and self-sustainability. We want to take everything that we do when we are really hand-holding somebody through a group case, which we love to do, and distill it for somebody who's looking to do it for themselves. So this is an amalgamation of everything I've ever stubbed my toe on or have forgotten to mention and felt like an idiot as soon as I got off the webinar, or something that has resonated really well with the group that's made me say, okay, I want to continue to make sure that I mention this specific piece in a webinar comprehensively into one script. So beyond just the script, there's a little checklist. Here are all the things you should definitely make sure are ready, and to make sure that you bring into the situation to make sure that nobody gets egg on their face. And I'm telling you guys, I have stubbed my toe on every single one of these at some point. So I've been invited into a Microsoft Teams room and nobody knew how to give permission to share screen, right? Well, that's gonna cut the presentation in half. I guess I can juggle. Um, Audio video working if you're on a new platform. Am I going to click the enrollment platform link and oops, this webinar is actually happening before the enrollment's live, so the platform's not ready? Like, you should just know that ahead of time so you don't go there, right? Anything that could, it's not going to be the end of the world, but just the tiniest ding on your legitimacy. You just have to know your full range of motion before you go into the webinar. And that includes being 10 minutes early. Like, I think later than 10 minutes early and you're running late, because all these things need to be gone through. Even if you've practiced a couple days before, something will pop up that will present a curveball. So just make sure. And then at every little section of our webinars, what do I actually talk about? What do I make sure is covered as a bullet point? And then the little microphone icon just gives you an idea of how I transition from section to section or introduce a section. I feel like those things I've got down pretty formulaically. So um, that's just how I kind of get from one section to another. So if you cover every one of these bullet points, guys, it's going to be like an hour and a half. So pick and choose. That's why the checklist is there. Number one, to check off that you've done it. But number two, you could actually just go through this ahead of the webinar and check the items you want to make sure you talk about. And then you're just kind of reading off of what have I checked that I need to make sure I go over. And you can fill in some of the templated things to make sure that you're just reading off of one big pageless cue card, right? I
Mhm.
think if we want to have something self-service, it's got to be pretty easy and not require rocket science. So if you're giving a webinar for a group and you're finally like taking that reign to be the head presenter, give this a shot, or at least figure out what we talk about in enrollments.
Right. Good job, Jason. Great script.
To thank my assistant Claude and the fact that I have hundreds of webinars recorded that
You do,
it,
yeah.
it can pull from.
Yeah, yeah. Um, the other thing that I would like to cover just real quickly is we do have a new community partner. And I wish I had her on the call, but hopefully she'll join us or maybe join Mark for a podcast somewhere in the future. But it's Aspire magazine, and it's podcast Off the Page, and Mark's going to be featured on that podcast in July. And Aspire is a fantastic, sorry, um, community partner for us because they're very interested in the content that we provide. And so if anyone on this call um, has some kind of interesting angle regarding long-term care insurance or long-term care planning, Aspire would be more than happy to entertain it as future content for one of their magazines. So I highly encourage you to come into the portal, look at their resources, and then subscribe. You can just click here. You can also, they're also obviously always looking for um, advertisers. So if you want to advertise to the financial community, the Aspire is a great, really up and coming, and they're really growing tremendously. So I encourage you to check them out. Yeah. So that.
Audience is a big deal. When you
Mhm.
when you grow a large audience, you then have a large amount of people to draw from for your content. So you get a very, very um, interesting range of people and perspectives to
Yeah.
draw from Aspire.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't dove into the Off the Page podcast yet, though.
Well, you will when Mark is on it next month.
I will. You can be certain of that. All right, guys. Well, I that's like the full layout of new stuff we have. We have tapped into some development methods that are allowing us to put things out at a pace that we could not have even imagined even this time last year. It's getting to the point where we're actually getting to those like 3-year-old wish list items in some cases. Little things that have bothered us for a long time are finally getting fixed. So I am sure you will start to see quite a pace of new releases. So we'll keep doing sessions like this regularly as we have enough content to lay out in the course of a whole study group for you. Just to give you an idea from my general side, from the sales tools side, we are also targeting some refreshes for Product Buddy and for Quick Quote. Um, and you may see them actually start to become one and the same. So, what if the Product Buddy had Quick Quote features that allowed you to actually control and edit the one pagers that you generate for your group as results? What if you got to side by side compare two products on a one pager? Those are some of the elements that we're starting to work with. What if Product Buddy state filtering applied to Quick Quote, right? To cut down on all the crazy amount of plan designs that we have in there. Essentially, we are going to try to work more to have our tools kind of walk you through the journey as we train you to manually walk through them yourself. So obviously they're next to each other on the sidebar, but it is kind of our target with the Product Buddy and Quick Quote updates to make them a sort of step-by-step module like you're seeing a lot of our tools going to. I think feel free to let us know if you don't like that kind of step-by-step walkthrough, but we always try to make sure that if you're coming in for a specific step of any given tool, that you can jump right to it. But essentially, you'll be able to put in the information about your group, same as you do with Product Buddy, but you'll be able to get a lot more information up front. You'll be able to compare more. You'll have some more control over those one pagers that are really your final output. And what I'm super excited about I don't know if you guys know this, but the one pagers in Product Buddy, I slave over a hot stove top and cook those up for you guys. And anytime we have a new plan design in a new state, we have to go through and actually type those out and QA them and use our calculator as a reference to do a lot of this sample pricing. And we're going to work on actually building into our pricing APIs that we have the ability to do some of that output live. And let's say you enter in a group that's 20 employees. Based on our premier underwriting offers with each and every carrier, you won't have to worry about misrepresenting something. We'll give you the ranges that you have to be able to edit some of those numbers, and you can pick and choose what you'd like to show, ensuring that it's still kept accurate. And at the ceiling, you're still showing numbers that are conservative and won't result in a turnaround to a bad surprise. So it's hard to take you through all the features we're working on without actually showing you. But I wanted to give you an idea of what to expect. We were so happy with the results of Census Quote and how easy it was to use and how many things it took care of, not for just the people who use it, but for our team. That we're kind of thinking with that same lens. If it's easy for our team to use and gives us a lot more information than ever, it's certainly going to help you guys. So we're excited for the future of that and hope you stay tuned with us.
Real quick, because I was looking at the chat and Jason, you reminded me of something when we were showing the script.
Yeah,
Yeah, make sure that you save when you click into it, just save it as your own template.
yep.
That's important. I think I'm going to put something at the top of
I
that.
think you can download your own copy. And if you're like me and
Yeah,
you hate Microsoft Word, you can download it as a Word document and just re-upload it into your Google
yeah,
Drive, and you'll have that kind of infinite editing capability and
right,
ease of
right.
copy making, version history, all that stuff.
Yep, yep. All right, we are at exactly the right time.
I mean,
It's
I
a
have this,
miracle.
we have this internal gear now that tells us when it's quarter of whether we actually choose to stop there or not from doing this so much. I hope you guys enjoyed. I think for us, it's just been a like fresh drink of ice water to have some of these features to make things a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more easy for you guys to control yourselves on the receiving end and knowing that something exists and being able to pin it down and find it. So I hope you guys will take advantage of some of those things. And our only ask is if you like something about it, you don't like about it, let us know what that is
Yeah.
so we can continue to grant wishes wherever we can. With increased capabilities comes increased chances that we may be able to grant a wish of yours. Again, it's never a guarantee. I mean, there are no stupid questions. Sometimes there are stupid wishes. I'm sorry, guys, but we want to hear them all because even if we can't incorporate somebody's feedback exactly, it may lead us to another really, really helpful feature. So appreciate y'all being here. Be well, and we will talk to you this time next week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.